Hi, this is Jasmine with my channel Sober and Fabulous. Just want to make a video today, and today I'm going to talk about bettering myself, how I've done it through therapy, through the power of positive self-talk, through manifestations, and just a general positive outlook in life. So it's safe to say that all my life I've been an optimist. I always like to see the silver lining in things, to give people second chances, to give myself second chances, and I am a firm believer in that ideology. I can remember learning when I was younger, either in Sunday school or at church, about treat others as you want to be treated, the golden rule. And I take that to heart. I used it all throughout hospitality, my career in hospitality. And it really, I feel like, made me stand out. And that every single person that I worked with, every single person that I interacted with, I treated the same, and I treated them with a level of respect that I expected in return. So I now feel like that plays a part in my new career in education, and treating kids who a lot of times are treated just as that, as kids, as children. And I find that even with young kids, if you talk to them, not necessarily like I would an adult, but if you have a conversation with them, explain things, a lot of times the feedback that you get from them, the respect that you get from them definitely changes to more positive, and you have more positive outcomes. Does not work for everyone. There are exceptions to the rule. Same with adults. And I don't let it get to me, because I don't know what that person, what that child is going through on a daily basis. I don't know what their home life is like. I'm not walking in their shoes. But I think it's important within our lives, which can get very self-involved. And there's nothing wrong with being aware of oneself and taking care of oneself. However, you can get too overwhelmed with it, but then you can also become too egotistical in it. I grew up with a father that was incredibly egotistical, and he had a lot of attributes, and that's great. But I was very turned off by the cockiness that he portrayed, and the egotistical manner that he showed himself off. I think there's a very confident way to show your attributes, and I do that daily. I have been told all my life that I come off very confident and very put together. And I take that as a compliment always, because sometimes inside I am not. I definitely use that as a defense mechanism for years. Being able to put that mask of togetherness on. And I've talked about it in my videos, how whenever I'm open to someone about my, recent recovery, how almost shocked people have been, because they thought that I had my life together and that, everything was fine. And honestly, a lot of people do that. They hide what they don't want hidden, or what that they don't want shown. So there's definitely some gray area to confidence and to portraying and exuding that feeling. So for a long time, like I said, I portrayed it. And now I feel like I'm exuding confidence. I feel confident in myself. I feel confident in my skin. I feel confident in the reality I'm creating. I feel confident in just overall who I am. I feel confident in my sobriety. I feel confident in my mental health and the just healing that is taking place, and the effort that I'm putting forth, and the, amazing people that I work with in order to heal on a daily basis. And so I'm a firm believer in affirmations. I have used affirmations for years, and since aftercare, which was last August, I went into aftercare because I didn't have my phone throughout rehab, which was actually pretty fantastic. So, starting in August, I had my phone and I started listening to it's called 21-minute affirmation. It's on YouTube, and there's several. And I can't remember the person that I'm subscribing to. I believe his first name is Clark. And so it's an affirmation that he repeats, I want to say 3 times. The script goes 3 times, repeated in 21 minutes. So I do that in the morning. And then I also found a healthy gut affirmation. I do believe that my feelings are in my gut. I feel them in my gut. And at the same time, so much of our health and our well-being is stored within our small intestines, our large intestines, and every organ that has an impact in those areas, which would be a lot of them. So I believe that what I eat, that has an impact on how I feel. And do I still eat things that are not so great for me? Yes, I do. I do that. I'm trying to do it in moderation. Of course, we've entered into cookie season, Christmas time here in America. So, yes, the struggle is real. I won't lie. And I'm okay with that. So, it is what it is. Cookie season will be over January 1st. So, I do my affirmations, speak them out loud, and I've also started writing affirmations with this 369 project workbook that I got on Amazon. And so every morning I write. It gives you a prompt, like a writing prompt that's very positive. Several of them, there's a small reading, and then I do 3 manifestations in the morning. And I think I said writing affirmations, but a part of this workbook, it asks you what you're grateful for. So there's a part of that affirmation. I do believe in writing out affirmations over and over and not skipping over, like I am confident. Continuing to write that over and over. I think it's healthy to meditate with a simple affirmation. And sometimes my meditation is very simple. It's breathe in, breathe out. And most often that's what I resort to because it's easy for me to remember. And I want to make things simple for I don't want to say simple in a bad way because I think that word actually has many uses. Simple in that I'm not overthinking. My brain is concentrating on me breathing in and breathing out. I have tried to do, some Buddhist chants that I've read in yoga books or different books on the Buddhism religion. And I find them lovely, but I get distracted easily in remembering the word or how I think I need to pronounce it. And then I can easily spiral into my monkey mind. So I like to keep it simple in regards to something that I'm comfortable with and that I'll remember and continue to use over and over. And I also find that, like I said, affirmations are good for that meditation, getting into that. I don't know if it's theta, delta, or alpha, or maybe all 3 brain waves that we enter into when we meditate. I know that we can enter into gamma waves, which are like the high frequency waves. So, and I'm just trying to make time to meditate because it's once again also easy to distract myself in 1,000 different ways when meditation is so healthy for me. It's just like exercising. I find that I can, suddenly need to organize all kinds of things. And that's also therapeutic. I definitely believe that. Organization is highly therapeutic. Cleaning is incredibly therapeutic because the end result is a clean space. We worked on cleaning when the house that I lived in aftercare. And obviously, so first of all, it helped keep the house clean. It made us responsible for the place that, the space that we occupied. And it also, when you clean, it's one of those activities where you are meditating in a way because you're concentrating on what you're cleaning. And sure, your mind can wander and think about other things, but for the most part, you're focused on that task. And I think that exercising is a great form of that. And a lot of books I've read, they talk about that. When you run, when you walk, when you do aerobics, anything like that, yoga, Pilates, you're focused on the task that you're performing. When I paint, I was telling my therapist, if I am feeling tired, like today's Saturday, so I don't have to work. I slept until like 8:30. It was fantastic. And I went to bed at like 10, so I had a great 10.5 hours of sleep. So sometimes on Saturdays, I just get tired in the afternoon. And rather than rely on caffeine, what I'll do is I'll sit down and I'll paint. And today I had my niece and nephew and my brother were here, and we were doing a lot of crafts. And there's something about that, first of all, hand-eye coordination, using the hand and eye together, and then again, performing a task that wakes up. I feel like my whole body wakes up. Not only my brain, but everything inside of me is alert and focused on what I'm doing. And then once I'm finished with that project, I don't feel tired anymore. So I'm really trying to use that. And it also gets those creative juices flowing. For me, especially with painting, I did not think that I was talented forever. And I do believe that I'm talented now. I believe there's many levels of talent, and I think that it's important to not compare yourself to others, which is difficult to do. So when I first started painting, I started watching videos, which I think is fantastic. I don't feel the need to compare to myself to someone that's painting a painting in front of me. That thought just doesn't occur when I do that because I'm taking in the advice that they're giving me, perhaps. So when I pick up a paintbrush, the feel of the paint on the canvas, the smell of the paint, all of my senses are engaged, and it is so therapeutic for me. It's so calming. It's so relaxing. And I remember when I got out of rehab, actually when I was in rehab, I started to think to myself, what are my hobbies? What do I enjoy doing? Because unfortunately, drinking and doing drugs had become my hobbies. And what useless hobbies they were. I mean, I will be honest about that. And I'm not even being mean to myself, but I'm just being realistic. They were absolutely useless hobbies. I accomplished nothing other than hurting my body and going slightly insane. So I started making lists when I was in rehab of things that I like to do, things that I wanted to do once I was established and had a job and had money to spend. But I felt that it was really important to think about what I could do that wouldn't cost a lot of money, or things that I already had. I had already been collecting canvases, paintbrushes, paints, so I was able to get into that very easily. Pencil and paper to draw. Those are not expensive items to purchase. And again, watching YouTube tutorials, it's absolutely fantastic. There's so many uses. I use it for baking, projects. Something's broken and I'm like, can I fix this? Some things you have to actually call someone. But I grew up, my stepmom who raised me, my mom, she was of the ideology that there was nothing she couldn't fix. And I love that about her. I think that's an amazing quality to have. And she inspired that thought in me. So I, am working on my gratitudes. I'm working on my writing gratitudes, saying gratitudes, writing manifestations, feeling what I want manifested, feeling what I want my reality to be. And it is personal. It's what I want. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you. There may be one day that I do, Right now, I'm keeping it to myself, but I think it's making such a positive impact on me. And I still have bad days. Not every day is sunshine and roses and unicorns flying around. I can certainly turn it into one of those days. I have an imagination. That's the beauty of imagination. But I have bad days. I have bad moments throughout days. And one feeling that I just don't like, that I can't stand, is jealousy. It is, I call it the evil green monster. And I will be honest with you, most of my jealousy stems with relationships. And not while I'm in a relationship. When I'm with someone, I feel confident, I feel connected. And I felt that way with my last relationship. Right now, we have separated and we're in contact with each other still as friends. And it's definitely, I'm testing the waters here because there are times when I get jealous. I have to remind myself that we're not together. I made the decision to ask him to go, and he made the decision to do certain things that prompted that. And then he moved halfway around the world. So that part is over. But just because that, we separated ourselves physically and that decision was made, there's still certain feelings that I have. And I also don't want to linger on a relationship that is over. I've done that in the past, and it is useless and it is exhausting. And what's the point? Really, what is the point? So I work on this in therapy, and it may come to the point where I may not be able to be in contact with him. I'm really honestly testing myself on this, and I was talking to my brother about it. And maybe I don't need to test myself on it, So it's a work in progress, but I really catch myself when I start to feel jealous because it can spiral so quickly. And there's not just jealousy in relationships that are intimate. There's jealousy towards people. There's jealousy towards siblings. There's jealousy, it can creep up in so many sneaky ways. It is a sneaky, sneaky, evil green monster. So beware, be mindful. I tell myself that all the time. All it takes is one thought that can make that switch. So I'm really working on not letting that green monster take over me. It's not attractive. It's not healthy. I'll be 1000% honest about that. And it's not healthy whatsoever in physical and mental and spiritual ways. And it is, utterly exhausting. It accomplishes nothing. If anything, it makes that person who's being jealous look petty, look sad, look, ridiculous in so many ways. And yet I have been that person that has been jealous, that has been crazy, batshit crazy, if you will. So when I say those words, I have been that person. I did not enjoy being that person. It can consume you and make you do such irrational things. And that is another part of what I'm enjoying about my life now in my sobriety and my therapy is having rational thought. This is my life. Like when I have a moment where I start to feel jealous over something, I think to myself, first of all, to get out of it, think of all the amazing things that I have that are physical and non-physical. I have a lot, and I'm super grateful for them. So that is an immediate, why am I jealous? Then I rationalize, what is this going to achieve by me being jealous? Honestly, what is it going to achieve? And 10 times out of 10, the answer is nothing. It achieves nothing to do that, to behave that way. And again, I can easily fall into it. It's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. I feel like I'm an adult. I should know better. And yet I do it. I'm being honest. I do. I fall into it, but I'm just trying to be more mindful and also more forgiving. Just because I do that, just because it happens, doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. It means that I'm a human being. And it happens. So being mindful, I think, is one of the biggest changes that I've made. And I do feel like I've always been mindful. I have had many therapists throughout my life that have spoken to me about my insight and my optimism, my mindfulness. I was just never fully honest. So that's the big change that's happened. And I feel so much better because I'm being honest. And there are still little things that I hold in to myself. And lying through omission is just, it's such a, I want to say, I easily overlook it and I tend to do it still. So that's one thing that I'm really working on. And just not that I have to like tell on myself all the time or be brutally honest all of the time. Some things are better left unsaid, but why lie about something? Like that's something that I'm really, really working on that. And I think the more I work on it, just the more the habit will be to be honest and not lie. And that will be healthier in the long run for me. So I encourage anybody watching this to try the different techniques that I've talked about. They seem simple, again, that word, and there's nothing wrong with simple. If it's easy to do, like, why do I think sometimes that it has to be more difficult? It doesn't. It can actually be easy. And there's, when you want to learn something new, you have to practice it. I'm practicing affirmations. I'm practicing mindfulness, practicing meditation, practicing manifestation, practicing positive well-being. Those are my big goals. And I feel good about that. I feel that having these talks, I am sharing how I feel and what I'm doing with you, whoever's watching this, but I'm also sharing that feedback with myself because there is a difference, I do believe, in what's in our heads and as opposed to what comes out of our mouth. Hearing what I'm saying really helps me kind of put things, obviously, articulate them, and it helps me organize them in a way that makes sense for me and hopefully makes sense for you. I want to help people heal. I want to heal. I believe that I am healing, and I believe that we heal through helping each other. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it can happen to each and every one of us. I hope that if you're struggling with addiction in any way, that you reach out for help. I feel like the easiest place to go would be an AA meeting or an NA meeting. You will meet people that you can talk to immediately, and there are meetings everywhere in the world. They will help get you to where you need to be, even if it's just to be heard. I also want to encourage you, if you feel like you need to talk to someone in a mental health capacity, to please look into it. There is nothing to be ashamed of in asking for help, nothing to be ashamed of in having a therapist. I think it is fantastic. I encourage everyone to do it. I love my therapist. I found her on psychologytoday.com. I wish you a happy day and just goodness all around. Bye-bye.